It's great to have you guys back at the channel today, checking out another Air Max 90. No, this isn't deja vu. We talked about it yesterday. It's the fourth day in a row of Air Max 90s, and it just happened that way. I did the obsidian corks and then the coconut corks. I fired those guys up there for 2 days, and then I saw Tokyo, Japan, sneakers that they already have these guys, the polka dots up there for June the 16th. So I was like, you know what? That's exactly where I need to go. So we get 4 days of Air Max 90s. Now, yesterday it was the sister shoe to these guys, which was the white polkas, and then today it's the shimmer polkas. And I'm going to go straight to something I forgot to mention yesterday, which is right here, Air Max 90s with Dubrays. Usually you'd see Dubrays at the bottom of, for example, Air Force Ones, but you don't often see them on Air Max 90s. Not never, but not often. And I forgot to mention that in yesterday's video, so straight off the bat I want to just chuck that one in there before we get started. But the story is we've got two shoes. Yesterday's shoe, the white polka, and then today's shoe, the shimmer polka. And there was enough difference between the two shoes for me to say, you know what, I'm going to do different videos about these guys instead of cramming them together in one super pack video. And that's what we've got today. So we're going to take a look at that. Hopefully I won't forget any more details like those Dubrays on there, and I'll give you enough of an insight into these shoes that you get an idea of whether or not it's worth putting your hand in your pocket and pulling out some coin to grab yourself a pair. So with that being said, let's take a look at this guy, the upcoming release of the Nike Air Max 90 Shimmer Polka. This is Tokyo Bara 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Bara 23 Sneaker Channel です。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And as I said in yesterday's video, and all the other videos I'm doing lately, is yay, we made it past 900 consecutive days. Like seriously, not a single day missed for more than 900 days, getting content up there onto YouTube, churning out that sneaker content every single day. And today, it's a cracking sneaker. And I said yesterday, and it's the same for this one today, I'm pretty sure these guys are going to divide the sneaker community. Some people will look at it and say, man, that's a great innovation to bring polka dots onto the classic Air Max 90 silhouette. Yes, let's go ahead and do that. But other people are going to be like, absolutely no way, this is a classic silhouette, you shouldn't be messing around with it. Either way, it's still worth checking out this video to find out all the different hits on it, especially in terms of those polka dots. And we can start talking about those, saying some sites out there are saying almost the entire upper is covered in polka dots, but I couldn't disagree more. To me, it's about half of the upper that has polka dots on there, and the other half does not. And of the two shoes, these guys are much more discreet, a lot more quieter. It's much harder to see the polka dots on these guys. Yesterday, because it was a very sort of white base shoe and then the grey polka dots, they really popped off the shoe. But today's shoe is more about sort of earthy colours, kind of tans, and into that kind of sail feel to it. And that means that the polka dots sort of meld in a little bit more. I would say this is the shoe that's less in your face and the one that more people are going to be interested in, because those polka dots don't quite jump off as powerfully as they did in yesterday's, which one was it yesterday? Today's the shimmer. So yesterday was the white polkas. So, and speaking of that, we might as well have a look at the toe and see what's going on down there. To get a look at the materials. There's suede, there's leather, there's mesh, there's a bunch of different materials coming together to crash it into one space on this shoe. But then also at that toe area, it's a great place to see those polka dots that we're talking about. And hopefully beside that as well, you can see the materials and the panels on there that don't have the polka dots on them, so you get an idea of how it's 50-50 in those circular designs throughout these shoes. So the toe, a great place to get an idea of the design of this shoe. And then not too far away from that toe, you can run up the laces to the top of the tongue and see the unique branding that's going on there. And I said this yesterday and I'll say it again today, a lot of people are looking at that and seeing a Venn diagram of two circles overlapping, but actually there's a third circle below those two circles, which is harder to see because it's lighter and it melds in with the color of the tongue and is covered up by laces and stuff like that. So but it's actually three circles making a Venn diagram instead of two, and so it's a unique bit of branding up there at the top of the tongues. You've still got the Nike and the swoosh and stuff like that, but then behind that you've got that circular Venn diagram design in three different colors, which represents the polka dots that run throughout the shoe. Then down onto the eyelets, because always with Air Max 90s, the eyelets are kind of interesting, top and bottom of the lacing system. You can see the design in there. And this is our first sort of flavor of that kind of peachy feel that we're getting in the shoe. Now, I'm going to say the words peachy a lot. I'm not going to say the word peach a lot, but peachy I might say, because there is a certain feel about certain parts of these shoes that is a kind of peach feel. It's not fully peach in your face, but a peach feel, and it first comes to sort of mind up there on those laces in the top of the lacing system, the bottom of the lacing system, where those eyelets are housed in that rubberized material, and this is our first sort of feel for the peachy. And then if we come down from that, you'll go past the swoosh on our way to the window. Below the swoosh there's the branding window on the side there, and then we get all the way down to the midsole, because this is another interesting place in these guys where that peachy feel comes in. I always call it, every single time I do Air Max 90s, the surround on the outside edge of the air unit for me is an arrowhead, and on these guys the arrowhead is very much that peach kind of feel. The rest of the midsole is slightly lighter, and I wouldn't go with peach for that one, but the arrowhead that wraps around the air unit has definitely got that peach sense to it. And then the second to last place to go into all that peachiness is round on the heel, where we see the branding panel on the back there. Much more a feel of translucence. I couldn't really definitively say if there's semi-translucence going on here or not. My feeling is there is, but because behind the branding panel there's such solid colours, you don't get that sense of translucence that you normally would do if there was something a bit lighter or thinner behind it, so you could see the light passing through. But I'm still going to go with that. I'm still going to go with a semi-translucence about this branding panel on the back, and also the branding and the branding panel are in the same colour again, that peach feel colour, but instead of putting, say, white branding on the peach, then they've gone and put peachy on both the branding itself and also the branding panel. So there's a complement there where they match each other instead of a contrast where they oppose each other. And then the final place to really go to look for the peach stuff before we go and have a final look at some other things on the shoe is to go and flip them on the outsole. Now, yesterday's outsole was very much a gum sole affair, which kind of would have fitted this shoe's story a little bit better than yesterday's shoe's story, because yesterday's shoe was all about greys and blacks and whites, and a gum sole in there kind of was a bit jarring for me and didn't really work. Whereas these guys, it would have worked, and they didn't go with that. Instead, they went with a sort of tan feel. I'm not going to go so far as to say sail, and it isn't peachy. I mean, definitely no, it isn't peachy, because most of that outsole is in that tan colour, but then there's the sort of wraparounds that come off of the midsole and onto the outsole, which are in that peachy colour. So the rest of the outsole is a sort of very light, super light gum sole on there, and then wrap it into that and kind of connecting in the middle. You've got that peach feel coming in from the midsole onto the outsole of the shoe. So, and then the final thing really to do is to have a look at the insole on these guys. Look at the lining and the insole, which is up there beside that tongue branding that we already talked about, and gives you an idea of the rest of the shoe. Sort of finishes it up really nicely for us. So if we come back out and have a look at the whole shoe, it's kind of nice to see, you know, all of that tied together, all the stuff we talked about with the arrowheads and the branding and the laces and the eyelets and all that kind of stuff, kind of pulling it all together into one sort of nice looking shoe. Now, I did say I think these guys will divide the sneaker world. Yesterday's sort of grey, black and white polkas, I didn't feel them as much as I like these. These guys, I think there's enough in the colours and the sort of the orange feel about it to give reason to the polka dots. It's yesterday's felt like a bit of a, I don't know, like a forced shoe. It didn't make it did make sense, but it just felt like somebody sort of pushed it through like less naturally. Whereas these guys, they feel kind of natural. And I also get a feel with these guys, if you look at them from far away, you won't really get an idea of those polka dots until you get kind of up close and have a look at them. Whereas yesterday's guys, I think those polka dots really stuck out on there. Now, I don't know if you can hear this, but one of my little pooches is on the sofa beside the camera here, and starting to dig into the cushion. No, she's gone and had a little lie down, which is a message to me that she's tired and it's time for bed. It is actually kind of late at night, almost 1:30 in the morning on Saturday morning. So I'd better get off, wrap this video up, and finish up another video. And then the fourth Air Max 90 in a row. And I'm not expecting to do an Air Max 90 tomorrow, but I don't know. I didn't expect to do these shoes either, but they showed up on the sneakers app here as being June the 16th. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do them. So if another Air Max 90 Wednesday shows up in the Sneakers app. And it might be that tomorrow, but I doubt it. I'm sure we'll find something else to talk about. For now, though, it's time to wrap this one up. Thank you guys for checking out the content. And I'll do what I do at the end of every single video, which is reminding you I do this every single day. And that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.